Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're looking at a sweeping historical drama that starts out with quiet tragedy, but actually ends up altering the course of history forever. The Book of Ruth is this incredible masterpiece of ancient narrative. It's a tight, four-chapter story that somehow manages to weave together personal romance, ancient welfare laws, and the grand sweep of divine providence, all into one completely captivating tale.
But to really get the profound narrative of this book, we need to unravel a central mystery together. How does a destitute, outcast widow change the course of history? I mean, really think about it. How does a young woman from a despised foreign nation, a widow with literally zero social standing and zero wealth, end up not just surviving, but securing a permanent place in the royal lineage of history?
Act 1, Tragedy and Emptiness. Our story kicks off during the Judges era, which sets a remarkably bleak stage. It was a dark, violent time of social chaos, and as if that wasn't bad enough, the land gets hit by a devastating natural disaster.
And the irony here is just immediate and bitter. A brutal famine forces an Israelite family to flee Bethlehem. Now, Bethlehem literally translates to house of bread. But, you guessed it, there's absolutely no bread in the house of bread. So, just to survive, the patriarch of the family, Elimelech, takes his wife Naomi and their two sons into the enemy territory of Moab.
What was supposed to be a quick temporary relocation turns into a decade of compounding tragedy. Over a devastating 10-year span in Moab, Elimelech dies. His two sons marry Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. But then, tragically, both of those sons die too. Suddenly, Naomi is left totally stranded in a strictly patriarchal world with her two Moabite daughters-in-law. She has no husband, no property, and, well, no apparent future.
Eventually hearing that the famine back in Israel is ended, Naomi makes the long, difficult trek home. When she finally steps foot in Bethlehem, she is so broken by her absolute emptiness that she actually asks the townspeople to change her name. Her given name, Naomi, means pleasant. But she looks at them and says, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara." Mara means bitter. She left full, but she's come back completely empty.
Act 2, Loyalty and Unexpected Grace. Well, actually, Naomi doesn't return entirely empty, because the brilliant light of this entire story is about to shine through her daughter-in-law, Ruth, who absolutely refused to stay behind in Moab.
Against all earthly logic, Ruth abandons her homeland, her people, and her gods. She binds herself to Naomi with what is hands down one of the most famous declarations of loyalty in all of ancient literature. "Where you go, I will go. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God." You guys, this isn't just basic family loyalty. It's a total, radical conversion. She's throwing herself entirely on the mercy of a God and a people she barely even knows.
This vow brilliantly illustrates hesed. It's this beautiful Hebrew term that's absolutely central to the text, and it basically means covenantal love, or steadfast loyalty in action. It's a deeply loyal, self-sacrificial kind of love. And as you'll see, this radical loving kindness becomes the driving engine for the whole shebang. Back in Bethlehem, they obviously need to eat, so Ruth heads out to find food. Now, the profound irony of the text here is so good. It says Ruth's chance chanced upon a field belonging to a wealthy, honorable guy named Boaz. It looks like pure dumb luck, right? But it's actually revealing a grand design. It's quiet providence working behind ordinary, everyday events. Ruth is utilizing an ancient Levitical welfare law known as gleaning just to survive. Basically, landowners were commanded not to harvest the very edges of their fields, leaving the leftovers for the poor and the foreigner. While Boaz notices Ruth, he learns about her incredible loyalty to Naomi, and he goes way above and beyond the law. He secretly tells his workers to pull out extra grain for her. She ends up lugging home roughly 30 to 50 pounds of barley. That's a massive, game-changing windfall for them. Act 3, The Threshing Floor Proposal. Seeing Boaz's immense kindness and his obviously honorable character, Naomi's hope suddenly reignites. She devises this bold, strategic plan to secure a permanent home and rest for her faithful daughter-in-law. Naomi instructs Ruth to approach Boaz at the threshing floor. This was a flat parcel of ground where grain was tossed into the air so the wind could blow away the chaff. Boaz is sleeping out there at midnight to guard his harvest. Naomi tells Ruth to wash up, put on her absolute best clothes, and quietly take the lowly position of a servant right at his feet. Startled awake in the middle of the night, Boaz finds Ruth there, and she drops this stunning request: "Spread your wings over your servant,
for you are a redeemer. She's essentially proposing marriage. She's asking Boaz to step up, fulfill his legal duty to protect her, and provide an heir for Naomi's devastated family. And the really beautiful part? She uses the exact same imagery, wings, that Boaz had used earlier when praying for God to protect Ruth. She's literally asking him to be the answer to his own prayer.
Act 4, the kinsman redeemer. Boaz is deeply moved by Ruth's honorable character. He even praises her for not chasing after younger men, rich or poor. But there's a catch. A major legal hurdle they have to clear at the town gate the very next morning.
See? The crucial point here is that Boaz recognizes he is a Goel, a kinsman redeemer. He has the right to help them out of poverty. But he also knows there's actually one man in town who is a closer relative to Naomi's family than he is.
So the next morning, Boaz marches to the city gate, gathers 10 town elders, and flags down this nearer kinsman. He lays out the case. To be a Goel, you have to be a near kinsman, able to perform the duty and willing to assume the obligations. Now this closer relative, he's perfectly able and willing to buy Naomi's land to pad his own estate. But the second Boaz reveals that buying the land also means marrying Ruth the Moabite to produce an heir for her dead husband, the guy immediately backs out. He is completely unwilling to risk ruining his own family's inheritance. To legally finalize this refusal, they observe what is, to us, a pretty strange ancient custom, the yielded sandal. The nearest kinsman takes off his shoe and hands it to Boaz. That was the public, official symbol of a kinsman transferring his right of redemption to someone else. With that shoe swap, the path is completely clear for our hero to step up. Act 5, a legacy of redemption. With all the legalities publicly settled, Boaz gladly purchases the land and joyfully takes Ruth the Moabite as his bride. He does this at great personal cost to his own estate, but he's entirely driven by that self-sacrificial Hesed love we talked about.
The emotional arc of this story resolves so beautifully right here. It goes from total emptiness to absolute fullness. The land is redeemed, Ruth becomes a mother, and Naomi's empty lap is finally filled with a grandson named Obed. The women of Bethlehem celebrate Naomi. Remember, she came back bitter, calling herself Mara. Now she's gone from that absolute bitterness to holding the restorer of her life right in her arms.
Let's see how this all builds to its ultimate climax. The story ends with a cinematic zoom-out, revealing the genealogy from Perez to David. It traces 10 generations, ending with Boaz, Obed, Jesse, and finally David. 3. Just 3 generations. That means this destitute Moabite widow, a complete outsider from an enemy nation, lived exactly 3 generations before King David. She became the great-grandmother to Israel's greatest king. No way, right? Just incredible. This brilliantly illustrates the core message of the whole explainer, a quiet providence. God worked through the ordinary choices, the quirky legal customs, and the steadfast love of just normal, everyday people to welcome the ultimate outsider right into the center of the royal lineage of history. It's a masterful display. So as we look at Ruth's incredible legacy, a legacy born out of something as simple as gleaning in a dusty field and showing kindness to a bitter mother-in-law, it leaves us with a really powerful question to chew on. How might your own small, ordinary acts of loyal love, your own hesed, echo into the future? It's a pretty fascinating thought to leave you with today. Thanks for exploring this amazing story of love and redemption with me.